Hi, I'm Barry John, and welcome back to Let's Play Ratchet and Clank 2002. This is the second Collectathon video, and I have one co-hero. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello all, I'm Discendo Vox.
And the first skill point I'm going to be getting in this video is the Girl Trouble, which is known for basically beating the alien queen on the Blarg space, not the Blarg space station, on the space station here, using just the wrench.
This is an example of the sort of approach to mini-boss development which didn't really see the same degree of use in later games, and certainly not the same sort of challenge point requirement outside of arena levels.
Yeah. I remember I've been playing through Ratchet 2, and there's a couple of... there's one of the first arena bosses is basically to beat him with just the wrench.
And you did see some more of these skill points in later games, including in the arena-only game, whose name escapes me at the moment. With
Deadlocked.
Yeah, Deadlock, where you did see ongoing boss-related skill points, or whatever their equivalent would be in those games. But you wouldn't see as many mini-bosses that would be recurring bases for a skill point in actual levels in the linear path, in part because of the problems with having them respawn.
But yeah, this game, or this particular skill point, you can only use the ratchet, or sorry, only use the wrench in each of the 3 stages of the boss fight, as well as the 2 mob spawns. But yeah, so honestly, it's not that difficult. This technique I use in the 3rd stage here is the easiest way to take care of it, which is go one direction, wait for the alien queen to swing around and start her attack animation, then go in the opposite direction and do a couple of swings.
And there you go, skill point.
And now
they
we're
serve
off...
as a sort of precursor to achievements, I guess.
Yeah, they are, in a way. Like, if this game came out, say, on the Steam today, like, all 30 skill points in this game would be achievements, one way or the other. But, right now I'm back to Rilgar, because I'm moving in semi-chronological order, and I'm going to be picking up the gold bolt that was impossible to get on the first time through the sewers here.
There's really only a few different ways the devs have hidden gold bolts over the years. It's either a challenge for, I think a couple of times a challenge for arena fights, but otherwise it's either off the beaten path or off the beaten path and locked behind on a piece of equipment you'd have to come back with.
And in this case, it's off the beaten path, and you need the O2 mask to get. Of course, having the bolt magnet collector makes collecting these guys so much easier. I just walk in the general direction and everything's good.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to remember how many other games have had the same water pumping mechanic in the Ratchet and Clank series.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, but I know at least one of the Ratchet and Clank games had this thing as well.
Going Commando has the temperature modifier, the one that lets you melt or freeze ice and water.
That's what I'm thinking about. That Going Commando was my first game that I played in the series, and it's the one that's stuck with me for the longest period.
Sorry, this is me just realizing, no, I need to come back here for a second, and now I need to reload this. Oh. I mean, but I like some of these skill points and the gold bolts. Like, it's not really... like, some of these things are a challenge, but it's a fair challenge, or it's something that, like, when you know what to look for, it's easy to see.
Yeah, the worst ones, which I think were only true in a couple of games in the series, are ones that are missable, requiring you to restart the game on a New Game Plus playthrough in order to get a chance at getting them.
Or require that you be on New Game Plus, like getting all the weapon upgrades in some of the later games where the price is just stupidly high.
Oh yeah.
That's why after this game, when I do further Ratchet games, I'm not going to complete... oh, sorry, just calling up the map there to figure out where the secret passage was. In future games, I'm not going to go for total skill point gets, because some of them are just stupid.
Yeah, there are a few games, I think, at least starting with Going Commando, where you see a pattern of needing to fill out the skill point roster, so they'll have things like shoot X number of ships that are flying around in the background. I recall that shooting the Insomniac blimp is frequently one.
As you weren't in the last video, one of the skill points was shooting down one of Quark's advertising blimps on Metropolis.
Yeah, and after a while, some of those start to feel like busy points. Oh, where are we now?
Sorry, I'm starting to do editing now, but this skill point is turn a tank into a sheep. So I'm just getting in under the gun and turning the tank into a sheep.
Straightforward.
And yeah, and what the hell am I doing here? Oh, right. Sorry. Twisty McMarks. Complete all four. Mike, what the hell am I doing? Sorry, guys. I had not enough editing last time, and now I think I've got too much jump cutting this time. Probably a result of me just running out of patience with some of this practice or the effort going into this. So the Twisty McMarks is complete all four style tricks on a hoverboard jump, which can be difficult, but you just need a good long jump to do it with. The one I'm currently doing now is considered to be the hardest skill point in the game by the people I pay attention to, or at least the game facts I'm going through. It's called Speedy, and I have to complete this hoverboard race in less than a minute 35.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember this one as being by far the most annoying when I was going for 100% in this game. Several of the hoverboard challenges in various Ratchet and Clank games were really obnoxious because of a classic problem with balancing for this kind of thing. The devs who are involved get very good at it and start setting unrealistic expectations for everyone else.
Yeah.
You see that in all kinds of games.
Oh yeah, but the thing about this is that you have to use the accelerator from the booster here, hit pretty much all these guys, and do stupid things like make that corner cut jump.
Oh yeah.
Just to shave a few seconds off, and like this jump right here to shave some time off. But I finally made it with 1/10 of a second to go. And that was the skill point earned. Now back to Umbrus with Quark's fortress here. There's no skill points on this level, but rather I missed a gold bolt. That's behind this door on the right here that I completely ignored my first time through. But yeah, some of these skill points are just ridiculous, or... Oop. Screw it, just make the run for it. Of course, part of me doing the way, like, this editing of the Collectathon now is I'm making the effort to at least show where things are in relationship to, like, the path that you go on, or the successful completion of a skill point. At least that's the intent. Wrong gun. Need the hydro, not the suck cannon.
Yeah, it sort of raises the appearance that the devs, even in this game, weren't entirely sure what the purpose of skill points was. The skill points sort of occupy a space where they're both things that you do during a first run of the game and things that you do for total 100% completion, and those reflect two very different approaches to what sort of things you should be required to do for them.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you can get all the skill points and all the gold bolts on the first run of the game, which is what I'm doing here. Mm-hmm. So it is possible. It's just difficult with some of these things. And the only way I get to complete some of them is because I abuse the Hollow Guys glitch to get all the money.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so here we are on Battalia. So there is one here for getting the sand mouse that's hidden back to the left there, which I'm going to ignore right away, and getting him to kill all the tanks in the level. But the one I'm going for right now, I think, I should be, nope, going for the sand mouse. Basically, I wasn't sure about because of the way the guide was, I wasn't sure how this was written, was whether or not the sand mouse would basically have to do all the shooting for me to get to where I need to go, or if he just had to take out all the tanks.
So you gave yourself an extra special challenge run.
Yeah, but fortunately, the sand mouse is an absolute monster.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so functionally this is just to be able to dodge without paying attention to other issues like shooting. So in some ways it's an easier task.
But the sand mouse only has a limited time before you have to go and grab a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the challenge, it's not so much a challenge as it is backtracking.
I'm trying to remember how many tanks there are in this level, and are there multiple sand mouse spawns?
There's only there's one sand mouse spawn per world, per level I should say. But there's like 4 or 5 tanks.
I can see you there considering whether you can take a shortcut around the building and decide, nope, not worth the death.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it's easy to see where you can make a jump, and sometimes it's not so easy. But that pause there was me just double checking my game facts, because I was playing this game on my emulator on my one computer and had the game facts open on the other one just to walk through, just check things out.
Has the audio cut out?
Yes, it did. So what happened was, this was part of the time frame when my computer crashed. The hard drive had issues. And I was able to salvage the video file, but not the audio file. Oh, missed. So yes, I do apologize, people. There is supposed to be sound here, but the sound died with my previous computer.
The LP curse strikes again.
I got a new computer from my brother, and he custom built my previous computer, and that thing lasted 15 years. So that wasn't so much the LP curse as it was I had a computer that was future-proofed for ridiculous amounts.
So there were 2 gold bolts that we hadn't gotten here.
Mm-hmm. But you mentioned how this one was off the beaten path. Like, it's literally, there was basically a hidden, shall we say, pathway off to one side, whereas the other one was, you got to realize that Ratchet can actually do his wall jump against any perfectly vertical surface.
Yeah, around the edge of a platform is a common path that all the games like to use for hiding bolts. Mm-hmm. Sometimes other items, but usually bolts.
Yeah. It's only in later games where they'll start hiding, like, optional collectibles. And yes, you are all going to watch me run back and forth to the sand mouse each and every time I need to grab one. Because I want to give you the authentic experience.
Yeah, there are a number of games that seem to be unable to resist having at least one achievement or challenge like this for the meme value, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. But this was me
using the city entrance route.
Yep. Part of it was I was just worried for a second that going this way I would leave the mouse behind, but coming over here puts me in a position where I can shave time to get to this tank.
Oh yeah, and this works quite well.
And this is me just double checking. Nope, nothing back here.
Since we have so much time to watch the Sandmouse shenanigans, it's probably also a good time to talk about the series in general. It's always been interesting to me that the Ratchet and Clank series has done so much better for itself in terms of number of entries and relative long-term success compared with other, what I'm going to call third-person mascot games like Spyro or Jack and Daxter, games that often only got 1 or 2 good entries before they sort of petered out and there wasn't an ongoing development budget.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Spyro has done well, but it's done well mostly by trading on its own popularity. And, whoops, there we go. Time to head back.
Actually, no, because I realized I'm actually heading for an optional objective at this point. When I first came through here, I never actually finished off Battaglia. Like, there was nothing on this path was required to complete the game. What I'm doing here is basically finishing off Battaglia and opening up a second unlock, because there's some more tanks in the over here between me and my objective. And if I'm going to use the sand mouse, I need to use the bolt in this little fortress area to open up a new pathway.
Which
so
means
you
have to open the bolt without killing these enemies.
Yes. So you might have noticed there my new value for my bolts is now 480,000, whereas previously it was 200-some thousand. That's partly because of the crash and me needing to replay the game and all sorts of fun mess, shall we say. It was a fun mess. It was a big mess. Now, I'm not allowed to die because that would cause respawning issues, but I can hop back here to grab this guy and get back to the city center. But yeah, talking about previous other games, I think part and parcel was the development of the Xbox and the PlayStation 3 killed a lot of that with the way those systems were designed and built and marketed to the developers.
So what was it about Insomniac that gave them an opportunity to sort of persist where other companies didn't?
Like, I'm thinking about, like, Insomniac doesn't really have, like, wait, but yeah, Insomniac did jump on the other bandwagons, like they did the Resistance series, that sort of thing, where they actually did, step away from Ratchet and Clank. But I think part of it was when they made there was that gap in time between Deadlocked and A Crack in Time, or the Future series.
Yeah.
Which I think it was a case of they saw that there was a blank, or sorry, like there was a part of the genre that they could get their hands on, or basically be the only people still making this game and get in at basically at ground level for it. Oh, gotta go get the sand mouse again. Because, I mean, yes, other, like, you mentioned Spyro, they still get the occasional game, but they're never really, like, oh, yeah, that was a fancy jump. Don't ask me how I pulled that off. But like, Spyro gets the occasional game. We had Sly Cooper for the PlayStation Portable, like Sly 4, and that did its own thing as well. So I'm not sure, like, how badly off this entire genre got that most of them died away.
I think it reflects the fact, in part, that Insomniac did not do very well with the Resistance IP, but the other companies that attempted to transition to a new IP with the new console generation had at least some degree of success, or else, if memory serves, a couple of them just went bust entirely.
Yeah.
This meant that Insomniac had an incentive and a motivation to return to the Ratchet and Clank IP and try to develop it. And they had the advantage of not having any real direct competitors. I mean, even entities like Banjo-Kazooie were largely trading on nostalgia and not attempting to build out a feature-complete game designed for the new console, which was what Insomniac did, for better or worse, with the Future series. And I say that as no particular fan of the later games.
No. But, in a way, it also does make sense. Like, Naughty Dog, Jack and Daxter, they got The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. And nobody's going to argue that, The Last of Us was any sort of failure. Like, with that success, they don't need to do Jack and Daxter anymore.
Yeah,
but,
and Naughty Dog also have the unusual sort of title agreement with Sony that other companies sort of aspire to. Oh, what's this?
It is the plumber. He's back. I forgot the fact that he showed up a second time in this game. But this comes up to a turret section, and when we complete the turret section successfully, because I'm going to quote-unquote deliberately fail the first time, we'll get the single most useless upgrade I'm going to get in this game because I already have all the money.
So it's a magnet.
Not quite. I've already got the magnet. But this... So, yeah, just... You have to shoot off all of the... Oh, wait. There's actually another skill point here that I don't get yet because I realize I need to come back and do it properly later on. Shooting down about 10... Well, I have to just shoot down just one of those fighters. The small little buzzing guys using the turret section here. But the actual way to complete this is to shoot off all of the bombs on each of these large bombers, and doing so will then take out the bomber itself.
But you're going to fail deliberately here.
Yes, quote-unquote deliberately. And not because of the case of, oh yeah, I just failed during my first attempt at this and I decided, screw this, I gotta focus on this, do one thing at a time. Actually, you know, I think another reason why mascot platformers stopped being a thing was mascots stopped being a thing.
As in company mascots?
Yeah, like the company mascot that would be a highlight or a headliner for the company stopped being a thing. Because, I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, you couldn't go anywhere without tripping over some hip, new, radical company mascot for brand whatever. And I think the people got burned out on that idea. So the idea of here is the here is the manifestation of our company doing this cheap game. I think that entire idea just bit the bucket.
Oh, I've never seen that failure cutscene before.
Yeah, that's the only time you get a special failure cutscene. So most of the times it just kicks you back to a previous section or the previous autosave. But no, you get a special scene where the plumber basically goes, oh yeah, I saved your keister. Now get back in there and try again.
Yeah, and of course the prevalence of those mascots in the first place was a combination of the limited graphical fidelity of the consoles of the time period, coupled with an attempt to imitate what other companies were doing, including what they saw as a success from people like Sega.
Well, it's not just Sega. Like, do you remember like the 7-Up character?
Oh yeah, it was the general zeitgeist pop culture of a shallowly rebellious or cool archetype.
Yeah, but that guy got a video game as well. So like, there was this whole thing where you had an entire, basically let's call it a genre, like as you said, like a mascot game, where the whole idea was it was a glorified ad for a company, and so when you moved into the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox, well, I mean, let's be honest here. We can say that Master Chief is the mascot for Microsoft and the Xbox at this point, but But you don't really see that sort of character much anymore outside of like Mario or Sonic, and even then, they're respected more than anything else.
They're human.
Yeah, and they're not shoved in people's faces.
Oh yeah, I remember this. The equivalent of the dowsing rod from Psychonauts 1.
Yep. So I could wander around and, pick up bolts at this point, but I have lots. And the bolt locations are never randomized. They're always in the same spot each time you play a world, and it's a way to get extra money on the... Trust me, actually, let me rephrase that. It makes it look easier and faster than it actually does. Because when you see how much money you actually get... Never mind, I cut it out. Trust me, not worth it.
Yeah, I saw that one of them was 385 bolts.
Yeah.
But we're back to audio.
Yep, so I apologize, but now I was able to get back to this point, and this is my successful run. Which is to say, I actually had a few failures.
Failures of what? You're doing this without damage?
Yes, because, like, there are a couple of basically blind corners where there's a damage obstacle right there, and because you've got two sensitivities to the jump button because of context sensitivity. If you press, you can either tap the jump to make a quick jump, or you press and hold it down to make a longer jump. Some of these things can only be done if you just quickly tap the jump button in series rather than try to make a long jump over the target.
These are not pleasant camera angles. This is an issue that's plagued every single grind rail issue implementation in every Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah, the fixed camera angle. But that is the skill point for making that run without dying. I think that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys all next time.
Adios.
Oh, wait, never mind. One more skill point.
Still gotta get that fighter.
Yes. Best way for this one, find the fighters are all on a fixed path. Find a fighter path and just fire into the path until you hit something. But I will see you guys next time, and stop.